So this week at the Kaminski household, it was filled with pumpkin carving and corn mazes and trick or treating. And today you're going to get a little treat of your own, especially if you are a reading tutor, because I'm going to show you a free resource that is online that you're going to be able to utilize with your online reading tutoring students. Now, those of you that are wondering when our next How Do You Close the Reading Gap a Full Year with 8 to 12 hours of instruction, you're going to learn how you can join us for that free webinar and be able to make a huge impact on each of your students. But let's move on to this amazing resource. So the tool is called readworks.org. And what I've done here is I have specifically signed in already as a teacher or as an educator. And this is going to allow me to be able to create different classes. And I have actually created each of my students as their own class. This makes it easy for me to really tailor the instruction to their reading level, to things that they are interested in reading about, and also with different resources and tools that they need in order to be successful. Like some of the kids can listen to the books or to the passages. Some of them can have like vocabulary activities that go along with reading the passages to increase their vocabulary. So let's just take a quick little overview here. There are over 16 million students currently using this tool, over 1 million educators using the tool, 95,000 different schools, and 172 different countries. So that's our social proof that this is a really amazing tool, and it has been around for a long time. What I love is that it has completely changed and grown with where we're at today in the online world. So it looks a lot better than it's ever looked before. So you can do digital classes right here within using this tool. Now, I would still use Zoom like I'm doing now, along with using some of these resources. And the different passages and topics, they've got STEM, social studies, arts, poetry, literary fiction, and holidays and events. And then you can click here to browse the Readworks content. There are books that are at just right levels for each of your students, and it doesn't feel like the material has been dumbed down for them to be able to understand it and get it. There are questions at the end that it says that build comprehension. It really checks comprehension, right? There's automatic grading in there. It tracks your student progress. But this checking of comprehension can let you know what types of skills and strategies is it that my child or my student is still struggling with that I need to be able to help them with. You can differentiate to reach every learner. Again, there are step reads, so there's more complex versions of each of the different passages. There's audio versions, there's ELL and SPED resources and tools that can be used to be able to help struggling readers. There's an article a day, so if you want to set it up that your student is reading in between your tutoring sessions, you can set them up with an article a day. And this is all like nonfiction types of articles that they'll be able to read in just 10 minutes each day. And as I mentioned, there's already 1.3 million teachers utilizing this tool within their classrooms. So I'm going to go first into my class administration here. And you'll see I have it set up so far with 2 of my students. Now these 2 students, they have advanced out of my Res Kids, Kids A to Z content. And so this is going to be content that's going to be better. I can create a class at any time. And again, this makes it easier for me to be able then to tailor the resources and tools that I give to specifically them, because I can assign passages to everybody in that class. Well, since my students are all at many different levels, it makes more sense to do each student as their own class and then add them as a student in their class. Each kid is going to have a different class code. So this is a code that you're going to give to the parent. During my session, I'll usually take about 5 minutes at the end to be able to add additional reading passages that they're choosing into their class. And they really enjoy that. They get, again, that ability to choose what it is that they're reading. So it doesn't feel like I'm forcing them to read certain content. They already have to do that enough in school. And here I really want to make it reading to be something that they enjoy and learning about things that they want to be able to learn about. Now let's take a look at how do I assign actual passages. So we're going to go right now to Colin. And here I can add more students in here. I'm not going to. This is really nice because I can just copy paste this and I can give this information to my specific parent so they know exactly how to log in. We can go to student library here. It says here library access is disabled. I'm going to put library access is enabled. Enable this feature to hide from the student library and reading passages you assign your class. I want allow passages assigned to students to appear in the student library. Definitely want that to be on in there. And now I can preview and start choosing from the student library. So if I take a look, I can go to find content right at the top here. I can select the reading level that my student is currently reading at. So if I feel like, you know, that Colin is at closer to a, you know, 6th grade level, I can choose 6th grade here. And then I can begin choosing different passages that are going to fit him. Again, I do like to incorporate him into this process versus setting it up all by myself. Now I can do reading passages here. This is just going to show me the reading passages that exist. If I want to do the article a day sets, I can choose different article a day sets that will show on up into his section. And so here's what it looks like when I add in something that they want to do. So let's say he wants to learn about space junk. Well, I can click on space junk, and here is the passage that he gets to read. I get to assign it to him. I can say, okay, I'm going to assign. And here, I don't have to worry about switching this because I'm going to assign it to the whole class because he is the whole class. I can enable the audio if I want to. I'm not going to do that in his case because he does not need it. But I can enable the comprehension questions. And if I wanted to enable the vocabulary, I feel like he's going to know the word satellite, this particular kid, so I don't need to enable vocabulary, but I could. To make this a lot easier, the only number that I'm going to change is this last number because I don't actually have due dates. You could set it up with due dates, but I'm just going to change this to 2020 so it will stay in there for as long. He can choose it whenever he wants to, and I don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm just going to click assign, and now that passage, this particular passage is going to be inside of his passages that he can choose from. So again, lots of great ways to be able to tailor the specific reading that each of your students are doing, and then you can even track their progress. So you can take a look at assignments and progress of each of the ones that you have assigned them and see, okay, have they submitted any of them? Have they answered any of them? Are they doing the work in between? You can take a look at past assignments, none here. Here it says class book knowledge. Article a day is a 10-minute daily routine that dramatically increases. And so then they can learn more about searching article a day sets. You can take a look at student progress, particularly Colin, since he's just gotten started with me. He's not read any passages or literary passages or library passages. He's not read anything yet. So this would be something that I could talk to him about on the next one. Be like, okay, so I've set this up with you. Here's what I need you to be working on in between our sessions. This gives me the ability to track it, but I only track it with him, right? So if this is something that I've set up, that he's going to read 1 or 2 passages in between our sessions together, then I set it up specifically with him and I say, okay, so here's where we are at with our goal. What do we need to do this week so that we can reach our goal? So I create my goals with my students, and then I hold them accountable as well so that they are getting success. So this is all brand new. Like I just discovered like all these really cool new features just a week ago, and I really think that they are helpful for my students. Now let's take a look at some of the features that are in the specific content. So I'm going to go back here. Let's go to the 6th grade passages. Let's say that I want to do holidays and events. And specifically, we have Halloween here. So let's check out what is in there for Halloween. We've got some fiction. We have some nonfiction. This one is called Wings in the Dark. Let's click on this one. You can see here, they could click on listen to it at the top here, and they can read the entire thing. The next thing that they have the opportunity to do is to be able to answer the questions. And so after they finish reading it, you can't see it here, but if you go to question sets, it does have the questions. It will show up for the student that you can actually answer the questions. In the adult one that I am in, it will just show me the answer. So it's totally up to you how you want to use this. If you wanted to use this and then have the student answer and then show them, you could, or you could be tracking it by creating a class for them. And you can then check and see, okay, which types of questions is this child specifically struggling with? It's got inferencing questions. It's got, prediction questions, mostly about questions. So these are all the types of questions they're going to be expected to see when they do take the test. Now there's also a vocabulary section. So in the vocabulary section, it gives the definition for the word, and it gives some examples that are here, being able to use the word. If you go to project, this will allow you to, these are the three words: extract, project, and release. So it's got the definitions for each of these words. They've got advanced definitions, and then they have their regular definitions. What we want to take a look at is which word is being defined in the way that we're going to be using it in this particular situation. So those are all of the different really neat resources and tools that are available through using readworks.org. Again, it is a really great thing to be able to read it. Now, I had one person ask me this question. They said, Joanne, but all of this is written in American English, and I teach kids British English, and I get nervous with what they'll do with their spelling if they're reading it in American English. So one of the tools, if you're going to be using this with your students, is you can go to you can go right on into OneNote. This is a tool that I showed you guys last week, and I'm going to take just this part of this passage right here so that you guys can see how this works. I'm going to go to my immersive reader, and I'm going to change the language. I'm also going to change the size here because I've been using it in a different way. I'm going to just move my size on down here so it looks more like text. But I can now change the language that it is showing on up in. So if I choose English, I can choose Australian English. I can choose United Kingdom English. So now everything is going to be spelled the way you would expect it to be spelled, and the words are going to appear in the way that you would expect it to appear. So let me come back to here. Translate is on, and I want to do this by document. So here's the whole entire document. If I wanted to switch back and forth, I absolutely could switch that back and forth from the original to the British English, and now I have it all set up in British English. So that's definitely something that can make sure that your students are reading it in the right language. Now, can you save this and then open it on up and create the passages for them to read in between? No, but it does allow you to be able to utilize this resource with your particular students. So in 1 week from today, I am going to be holding a webinar where I'm going to be teaching you guys how to close the reading gap a full year with 8 to 12 hours of instruction. So if that's something that you are interested in learning more about, come join me for this free webinar. I'm going to leave a link inside of the description, and if you're joining me for this during our live premiere, I'm going to put a link right there in the chat. But so you'll be able to find the link both places. And if you want to be able to learn more about what is the Reading Interventionist program that I host, you're going to watch this next video where people who have actually gone through the Reading Interventionist program share what their experience has been like and what they were able to benefit from. So keep watching, click that video on the right-hand side, and I'll see you on the other side.